Thank you to the witnesses. We will now begin questioning from the members, and the chair recognizes Mr. Sablan for 5 minutes.
Thank you, everyone. Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us today to share your thoughts and your expertise as we deliberate on these bills. Mrs. McCaul, thank you very much for what you do, and probably for some of the dinner conversations you have, and that Congressman McCaul is a lead co-sponsor. We are major sponsors of HR 737. And if I may ask, of the bills introduced in this Congress that focus on shark conservation, why do you think the Shark Fin Cells Elimination Act would be the most effective in halting the dangerous depletion of the shark population?
First of all, thank you for your question, and thank you for sponsoring this bill. The reason that this bill is the best bill is because it doesn't cost the taxpayers any money, and it makes law enforcement across all state lines easier for law enforcement. It's a fact that the demand for shark fins is driving shark populations down. And NOAA has said that the populations at 8.75% are unsustainable. And when we change the shark in the water, it changes the entire oceanic ecosystem, and it messes everything up. So I think that this bill not only is the best thing for the taxpayer, it's the best thing for the authorities, and it's the best bill to conserve sharks. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, growing up, we'd go fishing, reef fishing primarily, and we'd come across sharks, and they have this habit of actually preferring to chase the fish that we already caught rather than go chasing it on its own. So we just, you know, bought their face, and they'd move on. When we get to see a shark that's like 4 or 5 times larger than I, then we call it a day, actually. But why do you personally invest your time and resources in shark conservation? So can you speak to us about some of your experience diving with sharks with your family, actually, and what they mean to you?
I'm not afraid of sharks. I think that they're majestic creatures. I've been in the cages with the great whites. I've taken my kids in the cages. I've gone down to Cocos Island and seen hundreds of schools of hammerheads. These are just majestic creatures, and I personally have a huge hobby in tracking them. I've tagged sharks in Belize to look at their migration patterns. I go for personal enjoyment. And this is economically good for all countries, really, because there's a huge industry, a huge economic industry to look at sharks. And it creates jobs. And you will find nobody in the shark industry or the scuba diving industry that would not be for this bill.
Okay, and you mentioned that you've gone on tagging missions, so I guess across the world, but I'm especially interested in the Pacific Ocean, where I represent. What is the status of shark populations in general?
Well, within the U.S. waters, NOAA has said 18.75% of shark populations are unsustainable. And I think it's very important that we start looking at that issue. Sharks go everywhere, all over the world. It's really hard when they start getting into currents to be able to track them. That's why we put these transmitter devices on them.
Thank you. Mr. Grover, I just have one question for you. HR 1809 and 737 are no-cost mandates, actually. You don't oppose these 2 bills, do you?
737 bans the shark trade in shark fins?
Yes, sir. They have no cost to the taxpayers.
Well, if you ban something that's taxed, you do have an effect on taxpayers ultimately, but HR does not have a position on that piece of legislation.
Thank you. Mr. Pinizotto, may I? Did I get that right?
Yes, you got it right.
If I
Thank you.
don't. Pittman Robertson provides federal funding derived from excise taxes on sporting equipment for wildlife restoration and hunter education. And my time is up, but Dingo Johnson provides funds for sports fish restoration, aquatic education, wetland restoration. So could you agree with me that it is important for the U.S. insular areas to receive state equal funding considerations for both acts? Yes or no?
I think it's important to hear the concerns of both the states and the territories on that matter, and that's something that I can certainly do and get back to you with more information on.
I appreciate that, sir. Mr. Chairman, my time is way over. Thank you. I yield.